It's been a while. I'm finally back from shenanigans in Utah
you were here.
and other things.
Couple
went
episodes.
and hung out with I went and hung out with Mr. Josh Hancock. He's a former employee of ECS. Did Utah things. Went to Salt Lake and hung out and went hiking and typical outdoor mountainy things.
Cool. Did you listen to the episodes you missed?
I did not. I know I need to.
Yeah.
What else? I think last time I was putting the Moto 4 back together. I think
it was apart.
Yes.
Yeah,
I feel like you're always
the rear end blew apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always a catastrophic failure and then a reassembly.
So yeah, it's back together and it's fine, as it should be.
Good.
Got the bearings from Charlie, and Mike did some magical welding on the gears to make it less crunchy. But yeah.
Did you do the pinion too?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible, but
It was only one of them, but
Yeah.
there were like 4 different spots missing,
like 1 out of
3 teeth
10?
on the. Well, on the exactly 1 out of 10, but on the ring gear there was a handful.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was worse. You've done worse with Charlie's.
Yep.
So.
No, it was. But I've been riding it. I rode it this weekend. This past weekend, it was pretty good. I started doing more teardown and prep on the VR block that I have on a stand at the house.
Ooh, race car.
I don't know. I'm just gonna.
It's getting time to start thinking about those winter projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So been pulling that apart.
Mike, you don't need any help with that.
No.
I'm gonna paint the block and clean it up, and I don't know, maybe I'll sell it or maybe I'll build it. I haven't decided
Yeah,
yet.
wait, what? Yeah. If
So
you're
I bought
gonna
it.
Sell it. Don't mess with it. Sell
Well,
it.
I bought it years ago because I was like, well, might as well have an extra one just sitting at the house.
Nope, never had that thought.
Yep, false.
No.
Well, I mean,
It's a
who knows?
big thing to just be in the way all
Well,
the time.
the price was right.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
My space is worth more.
Well,
I don't have a big fancy pole barn like Kevin.
Well, I don't.
It'd be
I
full
just
of
have-
motors.
Well, you guys have seen my house. The back
Just a
part
wall of
the,
motors like spares. You got little 80s up there, like a couple of those. You got a couple LSs. You never know.
A
but-
forklift with like a pallet rack and then
Yeah.
a bunch of engines on pallets. That's what I want.
That sounds kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
But
You pick up a shell and you're like,
Which one in this one?
so started tear down on that. Gonna paint it, make it look nice. I don't know. I might throw parts at it. It doesn't really need anything. It was a running motor whenever I got it. But I might do some IE rods and some other race car
so
stuff.
that means you're keeping it.
I don't know. It depends. I have to make
no.
the car budget. No, I have to. I haven't really budgeted it out yet. I have to make the decision on whether or not I'm going to put stuff on it or not, and I'm going to swap it in the Corrado or not. So
I think you need to find something you want to do with it. That's more important.
I think I want to finish it and then find something to put it in.
Why don't
Right.
you make it
Like a
all
caddy.
fancy and then put it in your Corrado?
Yeah.
Well, that was a thought, but
Shape
since
bed.
I
It
have
makes the
turbo
most sense out of
tucked.
anything because it
Right.
fits.
no, I know, but
And your Corrado could be like better than it is.
I know.
Fast.
Well, that's the thing is there's nothing wrong with the motor that's in there currently, right? So
But it's not
except for it
fancy.
makes like 200
Right.
horsepower.
Yeah, so what a fancy one.
No,
With
if I
not
boost
little
it,
Terpsky on there.
Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms.
That is the can of worms that I'm getting into at this
Well,
point.
if
so.
that's the case, then give me all the cans of worms.
Yeah, but you don't need to change a lot on those blocks stock. You can kind of just really honestly I could run it stock block. It'd be fine for 350 horse or so. I don't really need to change anything.
That's not
It's
enough.
when you, huh?
That's not enough.
It's enough in a front wheel drive car that weighs 2,300 pounds.
Well, that's why you should pick up something cooler to put it in.
Well,
It's
that's-
not-
23.
Yeah.
debatable.
seems
That's-
like a
there's no way
stretch.
it's 23.
I'd give you like 27.
Yeah, 27 I'd go with.
Well,
Well, 25 with no
it's-
interior?
Yeah, no, it's 26. Full weight is 2,600 with full interior.
You think you dropped 300 pounds?
I don't know, just a matter of cutting off multiple things. I don't know. I'll take it to a weigh station. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. I need to weigh the drift car still.
To win
But yeah, I don't know. It was.
no idea.
I've been looking at caddies and other things, but I really think I need to work on other projects before I start getting into purchasing another 90s Volkswagen or Audi or anything like that before I start getting myself in a
You want to buy a
financial trouble.
B7 Shelly? and put it?
Put the VR in
off-road
there.
It
use
would be
only.
sick.
Race car?
Yeah,
Or
that would
buy a
be.
Miata, put it in a Miata.
A Miata would be cool.
Or literally anything not
Rip.
front wheel drive.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. But that's all I'm working on. Gonna just typical paint and prep engine stuff, and that's it.
Just put the VR in the Corrado, but
Just in the back.
longitudinally.
Yeah,
and
front
make
to
it
back.
rear wheel drive.
So
Yeah.
yes.
But, 2 engines, one in the back.
So there's a guy that has a Mark III that was on 1320. He's got it's a
Mark
VR12.
IV?
It's a Mark III.
Oh, the Mark III.
It's
yeah,
a green Mark
Yeah, I see
III,
it
and
now.
he's got a front engine VR6 and a rear engine VR6, and he's got some crazy linkage that links the two together. And it's I don't know if you haven't seen it. I'll have to.
That's
show
where
it.
I lose interest. Is the crazy
Well,
linkage.
I'll have to show it to you. It's pretty sick. But
It's cool. It's cool. I just don't want one.
no,
Like I like that people do it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I'll look at it and I'll watch it go, but I don't need to have a part of it.
yeah, no, I don't blame. It seems overly complicated too when you could just make it work off one.
Kind
But-
of brings me a little throwback of the first Waterfest I went to. There's a gold Passat there. It had 2 engines in it. He was doing a burnout.
Yeah.
One front's
One
going
in-
forwards
yeah,
and
one in
rear's
first,
going
one in
reverse.
reverse.
I know. I don't.
It's like, yeah, that's cool.
You just spin around like a zero turn.
It was on a drag strip, so
Yeah.
no.
Well, But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really decided what I'm gonna do with it. But there is a guy that I follow on Instagram that's got a LS swapped Corrado, which is definitely spicy and nice to look at. But
But
it
you don't
seems
have
like-
that engine, so.
Right.
Well, yeah, but every
could
pull apart
acquire it,
within
yeah.
4 miles has that engine. That's a whole another story. But I don't know. Just small project things for now.
Birds.
Oh, it sounds like we're in an atrium. I can't hear
Does.
those
It's
birds
nice.
outside.
I kind of like the
It
birds.
seems like
Yeah.
raindrops
Nice
on
little
leaves.
spritz.
And be like,
Have you ever been to like the Rainforest Cafe?
I love those.
as a kid?
Yeah.
Have you ever
Oh,
been
yeah.
Like, they're so good.
Yeah.
Once. Went once.
Shit, I went to one
Oh,
like
yeah.
last year.
Oh, really? It's been a
guys-
while since I've been to one.
Have you been to the Cleveland Zoo at all?
Yeah. it's
Cleveland?
Yeah.
Fairly disappointing.
Really?
What?
Well, I mean, I guess I don't know. The rainforest part of it's cool, and they have
Which
like a
one did I
restaurant
go
in there.
to?
That's dope.
I think I went to.
Is that the Harambe one? Was it the Cleveland or the Columbus?
That was
Columbus.
Columbus.
Which one has that Asian Lantern Festival? Is that Cleveland or is that Akron?
Akron.
Okay, I
That's
went to
Akron,
Akron. Akron seems good, way better than I expected, considering it's Akron.
Yeah.
So,
Didn't even know we had one here.
Yeah.
Cleveland
I know.
Aquarium's also impressive.
Cleveland Aquarium is actually it's small,
It's
but
small.
it's actually
It's nice.
yeah. It's for the price. I mean, for like a fun lunch and kind of activity. It's
Aquarium and chill.
yeah.
Yeah.
Aquarium and chill. But yeah, that's all I have. What about you, Kevin?
Been doing very little amount of Gridlife prep.
Oh.
Flushed my coolant
If it
for
ain't broke, don't fix it.
flushed my coolant for some water. Poked at some stuff. Nothing seems loose, so that's basically all I'm doing. Oh, I have
hope it doesn't
uh,
get down to freezing
When is
It
it?
won't.
2
It
weeks
won't
from
get
now?
that cold.
this week.
this weekend.
No, we'll be
Yeah.
fine. 50 is the lowest, probably.
It said low
nope.
40s.
Low
low.
40s.
Yeah.
it's
well,
fine.
right now the lowest low is 40.
And it's at
So.
it's at Mid Ohio, right?
Michigan.
Oh yeah,
Gingerman.
Gingerman. You said that.
So we'll see. I ordered a vacuum pump from a Volvo
Hmm.
and a pressure switch from a Volvo and a relay. So I'm gonna try to, I don't know,
For what?
make that maybe like a Thursday project while we're there, waiting to drive on Friday.
Oh,
hanging out.
all right. Yeah, that's a good
I like
idea. 'cause
that
we don't have
activity,
anything
you
else
see
to
it?
do.
Well,
yeah.
okay, why though? I must have missed this.
Well, for the brake booster. So
Okay.
essentially, eventually you drifting, you run out of
Essentially,
vacuum
eventually.
in the booster, and then your brake pedal goes from assisted to not assisted. So if you like one or the other is fine.
Okay.
Usually,
Not an
or if
in-between.
you like to have manual brakes, usually you have a bigger master, so you get a
Yes.
little bit more advantage.
Right.
In this case,
Smaller,
it's a stock
but,
one. Yeah, smaller.
Yep.
So by having the Volvo pump, basically it'll just turn on when there's not enough vacuum in the reservoir.
Okay.
In the booster.
Yeah, it's a
So
left
it
foot
could-
braking thing. If you're not left foot braking, it's not a problem. But
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Pretty useful in tandems and stuff when you want to dial yourself in. It wouldn't be that big of a deal if I could just press it once. It would work. I could get off throttle and I'd get vacuum. But
Yeah.
when you're playing with the pedal a whole bunch, it takes up the vacuum pretty quick. So.
Yep. Makes sense.
And then the other thing is I bought a mill.
yeah, it's sitting behind us.
Like
It's
old
a
Bridgeport.
It's a big boy.
Yeah. I went to a machine
It's
shop.
big, but it's not a big boy mill.
No, I mean they come in
Yeah,
enormous. This is
yeah.
like the good sized mill.
Yeah. For the everything that you probably would ever want to do.
Right.
Yeah. So there was a machine shop 7 minutes away that was clearing out for another machine shop to move in. And the guy had sold 2 of the other mills that were there. So he was like, well, I already got money for that. I wanted $1,200 for this, but I don't know, whatever, I'll take $500. Wasn't sure if he like thought I was serious at the time or what, but Then I was like, I got $590 if you give me those collets and that vise also. And he was hesitant, but said yes. So here we are with a Bridgeport that just basically needs to be cleaned up and wired.
It's a good thing you haven't put those walls up yet, huh?
Yeah, working on it. Insulation is coming soon.
Oh,
Oh, we have
Delivery.
Food delivery.
the world.
That's for you.
Oh,
Ranch down.
condiment disaster.
Okay, thanks.
Well, thanks.
Hell yeah.
That's that premium drift nugget service.
So anyway,
Thanks.
it's a lot of cleaning to do right now.
Hey, they can't see Kevin now.
Just trying to soak the whole thing in WD-40 and hit it with Scotch-Brite, basically. But getting the old machine shop off of it is pretty thick. So,
Looks
but
pretty
hey, I got a
grody.
mill. And I did some sketchy things to get it off the trailer and onto the floor with
That
the
is
lift.
the
I did
least
see that- I
sketchy
did-
thing I've ever done
I know.
to
I've,
get a mill
I've seen.
moved around.
I saw the photo.
These
Of it
candies
on the
look
lift.
Fire,
Okay.
Kevin. Not food. He's not food motivated.
I'm just
No.
trying to keep it rolling here, and you keep doing it.
Nah, come on, it's fine.
But yeah, a couple boards on the lift, just kind of back the trailer, which barely fit between the lift into the barn, which barely fit with the mill on top of it by like a half inch to the top of the door frame. So
So
on the
how are you
ground.
gonna move it now?
yeah, I gotta do some like Egyptian style stuff with some.
Yeah, just a
tubes.
bunch of rolly things.
Mm-hmm. It works pretty good.
It will take a while, but I only gotta do it.
I don't know. It
once,
just
so-
looks heavy, so I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
it's a little over 2,000 pounds.
Where are you putting it at? Back corner?
over here.
Yep.
Move the welding table over a little bit, and
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Just fit right in there.
just got to get a 3-phase converter.
Now, could
Oh,
you
go
like?
the
you can
VFD
just-
route? The VFD would be
Yeah.
more power, but also more money.
I like the variable thing on that. You
Yeah.
can change the speed without changing the belts.
Right. Yeah, and the motor would be a little happier. So, because
Yeah.
like the cheapo phase converters are just a capacitive start thing. So once they get moved, it's just
like single phase still.
it's
just-
single phase. It
yeah.
just so you lose a third of your power, and it like capacitive starts to get the motor spinning, and then you're back to single phase again. So which works fine.
Yeah.
But
They're like 4 times as much money, though.
the
the
real
VFDs,
VFD,
yeah, for sure.
Eh, we'll see. We'll get it in the corner, and then I'll get motivated to fire it up eventually. And depending on where I'm at money-wise, if I buy something else I shouldn't buy, then maybe I'll buy the cheap one. If I have some money kicking around, then maybe I'll buy the nice one.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll
Huh.
see what happens.
You gotta be
But
able
yeah.
to find like used VFDs too.
The old
Gotta be a
1951
boatload
Bridgeport
of those
mill.
on eBay.
It's kind of
Right.
cool though. Probably
It's
a lot of history behind that.
Oh yeah, it's
It still works.
done
so.
some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people have done some stuff to it.
Yeah.
There's like one slot down the table that like someone was like really having at it. It must have been
Oh.
awful.
Someone blew out one of the T slots like completely from the bottom. It looks like
Oof.
on the end of it. It's just kind of incredible what would have had to happen for that to
No.
go that bad.
Will it auto feed right off the?
I don't know. It's you'll have to look at it. It's pretty rough. It's like chunk, like the whole. There's pockets on each end.
Mhm.
The whole corners are gone of three corners.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's fine though. For what I need it for, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be
Probably like.
perfect for small stuff. And
Ooh, I got a dial indicator the other day too.
Nice.
I went back the day after thinking I might buy a lathe, but
Yes.
decided not to and
Right.
bought some other things, some parallels, slide hammer, a little oily, the old school oil Johnny's, for a little
Ah, you
oil
got the
The
parts.
little squirter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the dent can style or the lever style?
lever.
Oh, okay. Full Tin Man?
Oh yeah,
Well, not Tin Man. Tin Man had the dent one, I
it's
think.
that like copper looking thing over
I
there.
think it was the dent one.
Oh man, gonna have to rewatch it.
Yeah, I know.
oh, those are good ones.
Anyway, machine shop cleanouts.
Whoop,
Yeah.
whoop.
It's a place to be.
Shout out to King's Detailing for tipping you off on that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Corey
Give
King.
all of us the hookup. I just don't have anywhere to put anything.
Right?
That was the problem. I was like, I'd love to go look, but I
There's still
can't
stuff
actually buy
available.
anything. No, I can't.
That's why I was
physically.
afraid to go when you hit me up yesterday. I was like, luckily I'm in the middle of doing stuff because I'd be interested to go.
Yeah.
I'd buy a bunch of junk I can't do anything with right now, but
Yeah.
it is a killer deal.
Yeah.
Yep. I couldn't turn that down.
Sure, that stuff's gonna go fast,
I
too.
saw them in the pictures, and I was like, man, that'd be cool to have a mill. But I was like, no, realistically, I'm not gonna buy that. That's stupid. And then I got there, and he's like, yeah, $500.
That's a killer deal. What do those
Can't.
normally cost?
You'd be lucky to find that for less than $2,000.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
1,500 without the arrows you can find, but that's still even like a pretty decent.
So
deal.
it's not like a $13,000 machine.
It was.
Or-
I mean,
yeah, maybe
you
at
could
one
buy
point.
new versions of that for probably around there.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Interesting.
It's when the tooling starts to nickel and dime.
yeah, it gets expensive quick too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
you
I
have a
was
bunch of
happy to get
leftover
the-
tooling.
Yeah.
but-
it's
I
good.
picked
The
up some
toolets
end
was
mills
good.
the other day, and
Collets.
I got a drill chuck. I have collets. I have parallels. So
Cool.
dial indicator. That's about all I need.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit.
Yeah, just
Or
like
live
in-
center. Not a live center. A center finder.
Ooh, I
Edge
haven't-
finder.
I
Edge
don't have an
finder?
edge finder.
You can do that with an indicator too, though.
The chances that I need something that precise are going to be pretty slim.
Hmm.
Which
Yeah.
case, I would like mark it out with calipers or something that I have with a center drill.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we got Will.
Oh, let's see. Well, I'm in the process.
Well,
I'm in the process of possibly trading my newer Moto
Uh-oh.
4 for Derek's buddy's suspensionless Moto 4. It's pretty rough. Looking for some cash on his end, possibly replacing a few things. It needs like tires. I'm questioning the CDI as aftermarket, China carb on it with no intake boot. And yeah, other than that, just like plastics are in rough shape, but that's not that big of a deal. I've already started polishing it just because it's something to do and it's free and it's rewarding.
So you already
Wait,
traded it,
yeah,
or
you
you're
said-
trading it?
So before I gave him like the word on it, I said, yeah, like drop it off with me for a little bit and I'll
Let me look at it.
Yeah.
So you're already working on something that's not technically yours yet?
Yes.
Okay, sounds about right.
you basically traded for it. You just haven't accepted it yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But now you have it. So well, I guess that kind of gives you the advantage because you'd be like, oh,
What
I
color
looked
is it?
into it. It's not quite great shape,
course.
so I'm going to need some money.
Right, and I've already kind of laid the groundwork for that. I said, making a list of the parts that it needs. It needs, like I said, tires. It needs both front wheel bearings. Like I said, it seems like it needs a CDI, which is probably the biggest issue.
Yeah.
And tires is like,
You're probably $200
Yeah.
total.
Right.
Right
I
deals and
also
stuff.
I have those leftover plastics that I was going to give to Kevin.
If that's all, though, you know what I mean. So I think I'd be
Yeah,
okay
yeah.
with that. That's why I want to try
It's only-
CDI.
There's only so many parts.
Right. So, Derek also supposedly put a new top end on it. Well, he could
He
could
did
tell.
put a
He
top
did-
end on
He
it,
could
yeah.
tell he put a top end on it, but it's very smoky right now. So I'm hoping that it just needs some runtime.
Probably didn't seat yet,
Yeah.
or if the rings found each other. You know what I mean? Like if they actually
Yeah.
lined up at one point. Rings rotate a fair amount, but they
If it-
shouldn't do that. But if they're fresh, they could.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it needs a CDI possibly too, so it's probably not running well, so that's not helping
Right.
get things seated.
Right, that's true.
So, that's on the to-do list, but I did I put it in the corner because I went to go get that. I finally got that trans that I need to put one of the Maseratis back together. So that's currently apart on the bench, and so I'm just swapping those over, and then I should be good to drop all that back in a car. Hence why I was asking about the lift. So hopefully sometime next week, that'll be making progress.
Hey, you can make it work again.
Yeah.
It's right in time for it to be a winter car.
Yes, actually, I was thinking about that because I have the two. I'm selling the one,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, cool, like winter beater money. And then I was like, well, I don't really need a winter beater because I have the other one, which whatever.
Yeah.
You finally get something that's not rusty, and you're gonna go make it rusty.
Right, that's the only thing is
Yeah.
like,
That's kind of what my initial thought was when I heard winter beater. I was like, well, but why?
yeah, I know. So we'll see. I mean, once
Especially a Mazda, because they don't like salt.
they really don't.
They don't like
It's
salt.
bad.
I'll put them in the category,
real
same
bad.
category with most Dodges, and
Yeah,
at least in
and
this area,
Volkswagens
don't
too,
like
but at least they
salt.
like warranted it
Yeah.
or recalled it or whatever they did.
Yeah.
So,
Oof.
anyways, that's where that's at. And then over the weekend, Saturday, spent some time smoking some meats. I don't know if you heard, Dave, bought an electric smoker. Got pretty
Oh,
excited about that.
I'm gonna call you Josh Shirk Jr. here.
Ooh, boy. Well,
Just kidding.
he'd probably be more successful than I was the first
He's got
time
a
around,
phone. He's
but
got a phone app. that
I
he
got a
runs.
Bluetooth. I got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty nifty because you can put like a probe in
All
the
right,
meat.
so
and
we're
you just be like,
going to Will's
that's
house
how,
for
like,
meats.
yeah, buddy.
Stuff just comes with like excessive technology now.
It
Like
does.
I bought a trash can the other day, and it opens by itself. It's like, I didn't want this, but it was cheaper than like the
I know,
physical.
yeah.
Does it open only when you walk by, Kevin?
No, it opens when anyone.
Kevin had to get an implant, right? So it has GPS tracking.
It's
and
a
so
bad,
when
it's a bad joke.
Yeah, I linked it to my Google Home, so I know when my trash can's open.
Gets alerts while he's at work.
Every time.
Dogs in the trash.
Why? That's such a weird thing that you need a trash. Why? Yeah, you're right.
I'm
Everything's
just trying to buy a trash can.
over-
and
I
honestly,
I know, just a regular trash can.
the
It's just-
cheapest,
more
like
shit to break.
reasonably sized
annoying.
one for a kitchen,
Yeah.
was $45, and it had an automatic lid on it. I'm like, well, I guess that's the one I'm getting.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, smokers with Bluetooth, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It actually is pretty handy because it has like the probes you put in the meat.
Oh, you don't
can,
have to
like,
justify this
you
to
can
me.
check it on
This
your
sounds
phone,
great.
so it was
You
pretty good.
monitor
It was
your
pretty good.
meats while
I
they're
blew
being
it. I
smoked?
totally, I expected to, so I didn't spend a whole lot of money on the stuff I was smoking, but
What kind of smoker did you get? Like a Traeger?
like a little master built thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What'd you smoke?
I'm into it. I did some ribs, did
Yeah.
a brisket, and did chicken. So ribs turned out fantastic. Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Must be hard to screw up because
the ribs.
the results. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then brisket, it needed more time, and the chicken was pretty dry, so that needed to come out a lot sooner. But it's a learning.
Your problem here is you're smoking 3 different types of meats all at the same
Right,
time.
that was not the best idea
No.
for the
Yeah.
first time
You gotta
trying this
pick
out.
one. Pick one and go
But
with
everything was smoky, so
it. One was
no, I'm excited to try it again. But yeah, we'll
Yeah.
stick to one thing at a time then. So I did that Saturday, and then Sunday just did full detailing mode. It was nice out, and ended up like washing and then cutting and then buffing Lindsay's car and then waxing it, and that took like 4 or 5 hours. And then I did the truck, except when I went to go get that trans, it like leaked like
Goop everywhere.
goo all over the truck bed, and then that was gross. And then the trans was gross, so I didn't want to touch it. So power wash the truck, power wash the bed, power wash the transmission.
power wash the transmission while it's in the bed.
Yep. And then when it's out of the bed, and then I had to power wash the driveway because there was oil everywhere. Oh yeah, that was a mess. And,
No wonder it took 4.5 hours.
Oh my god, no, that was just Lindsay's car. It took like 4.5 hours. That was
was fast.
separate. That was separate.
Yeah, that is pretty quick.
It, I was working the whole time, nonstop. So, I think that's it. Yep.
Yep.
I'm sure
Well.
there's something inconsequential that I'm forgetting, but whatever.
Well, Mr. Mike Day, what do you got?
What does he have?
I already know what he
Something
has.
that he
I just
doesn't.
wanna- I just
something
want
that he
him to
didn't need
explain
at
it.
all.
I
That-
bought another
He
car.
scumbagged himself.
I did. Completely on my own. And it was funny because, like, 2 days before that, I was at lunch with Will and Matt. We were just sitting there. I'm like, man, yeah, I need another winter beater. I don't want another shitty winter beater. Like
He's like,
the
yeah, the
944.
944 was an awful winter beater.
Awful winter beater.
Like,
It was just too small. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not a good winter car. Great car, not a good winter car. So I bought a 928.
right. So
Basically
it's
the
just speechless.
same
We're like,
thing.
what?
Yeah.
What?
Well, it's-
Same but different.
Same color, equally shitty condition.
Been sitting just about the same amount of
Yeah,
time.
both had been sitting about 10 years. I'm an idiot. But
What was it like? Rewind to like 2 episodes or 3 episodes ago when you were bitching and moaning about how CIS is stupid with the Audi.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
Not only did you buy what you didn't want for a winter beater, but you
Oh,
also
yes.
bought another V8 CIS car.
Yep.
yes, it's a CIS V8. So, and it's a 78. So this is now the oldest thing
Yeah.
that I'm considering as just a winter car or just something to drive. What got me is it's a manual. They didn't make many in manuals, and it was cheap, and it was like the kind of like no title from a scrapyard situation. So I hit the guy up because I thought it was cool, and like there was a picture of the seats which looked rad. I was like, all right, like I need another set of wheels for the 944 at least, and the transmission's worth more than I'm paying for the car. So worst case, I can just throw the whole thing away and be on top of this. It'd be fine.
Yeah. Make
And I
money.
got it, and like, it's in kind of passable condition, and then it looks way worse than it actually is.
No, yeah, with enough elbow grease,
well, that's
like,
what-
like the 944.
Quite a bit of elbow
cleaned
grease.
up all right,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is basically the same thing now. The interior is a little nicer, I think.
Yeah.
I think it'll clean up well. I was there
Yeah.
on Saturday, and we
Yeah.
were kind of messing with it.
Yeah, Dave was there, helped provide the pressure washer, and then some assistants scrubbing it, which really didn't make a difference at all. We bought all sorts of
It was-
brushes and all sorts of straight simple green, didn't care. Straight purple power, didn't care.
You're gonna try and give it the same paint job as the 944.
That's why we went
It's
with the
already
simple
there.
green.
It's close.
I went with the simple green first because purple power ate the aluminum, the silver in. It must be aluminum flake or something like that. That's
Like the actual
making the
metal
silver
flake,
paint
yeah.
on the 944. So it just ate it all and turned it to primer. I was like,
Simple Green
whoops.
supposedly does that too.
The simple green is supposed to be good on aluminum. Simple green is aluminum safe.
Is
Purple power is very not aluminum safe.
Okay.
But it works better, which is why I always do it.
Because it says not to, and if it makes a chemical reaction, that means it's working better.
Right, yeah, it takes less effort, which is what I want. But neither affected the paint in any way.
Okay.
So, we scrubbed the heck out of it. Didn't really do anything. I wet sanded it. Didn't really do anything. Pressure washer, a half an inch off the hood. Did a little bit. Okay. And that's basically how I went over the whole car.
All right.
So,
It looks a lot better than it did.
yeah, it's better now. It's not great, but it's
No,
better.
The engine bay is super clean.
Yeah,
which is
engine bay
sick.
came out really nice.
Yeah.
It runs.
Okay.
So that's cool. I came home with the battery from you after loading the mill. I threw the battery in it. I just sprayed the CIS thing with some brake clean. The thing fired it up and it was fine.
Well,
That's surprising.
fired.
It fired up and until it runs out of brake clean.
Yeah.
Someone bent the CIS diaphragm. I got it into the driveway and I figured out what's wrong with it. It's internal to the CIS. Someone took it apart and pried it apart with a screwdriver and fucked up the little stainless diaphragm in there.
Yes.
It's $80 for the rebuild kit for a new one. It's on the way.
Okay.
But that makes it. I took it apart and cleaned it. They also had it clocked wrong, so it wouldn't build any pressure, so no injectors were opening. I clocked it the correct orientation, and now it floods the rear two cylinders because it's bent. So
Yep.
it hydro locks itself, but it runs. Engine sounds good. Builds oil pressure.
Right.
The clutch pedal was on the floor, so that was a bit of a fiasco. I rolled it out of the trailer once it ran, towed it up the driveway with the Unimog, drove the Unimog around it, and I went to just drive it on the starter up to the garage door where I'd work on it, and it fired off what residual brake clean was in there and drove into the tiny quad because the clutch was on the floor. So nothing got damaged.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. It was a little.
That's what I said. I said it
Actually
could have been the
started.
garage door.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily there was no actual fuel to run off of, but so pulled all the interior out yesterday. I'm in the middle of cleaning. Got some
Right.
parts in the way. Should be fine. But dumb decision. Didn't need it.
No.
Kind of like it though.
Kind of cool. The seats are cool.
Yeah, seats.
It's probably my favorite part. The seats are going to clean up nice, even though the passenger side's
Yeah,
a
if
little
you haven't
fucky.
seen this,
But
pictures of the seats are
it's,
posted on CAD to cars currently, so they're there.
Are there? Is it?
yeah,
on?
no, I posted one. You can kind of see them.
Okay.
That's I don't remember what it's called. I looked it up yesterday. Mike calls it. What did you call it? Disco plaid.
The guys I used to work with at German called it the disco plaid. or
Disco
whatever.
plaid, but it's called something else, and it's actually a fairly rare seat combination. At least from what I read on the internet for 5 seconds. So who knows?
Tons of research.
Tons.
And otherwise, I haven't prepped the drift car at all for Gridlife.
Priorities.
That's what I need to do next. I was going to do it today, but we're recording, so I'll do it tomorrow.
Yep.
I drove it Friday, and it's developed some sort of under load misfire. So neither of the scan tools we had that I was playing with would tell me exactly what it is. It just gives me a DME specific code. So I'm going to try to force Will to bring in his knockoff of the input setup or whatever.
I'm gonna set a reminder now because I'll definitely forget.
Otherwise, I'm just going to Russian roulette coils in it till it stops. So
Unless that's not the problem.
it feels very coily.
Okay.
It's a hard
I guess if
ignition
if
cut.
it's back and forth between working and not, then it's probably
It's load dependent. So as soon as low
Yeah.
RPM, if you give it a high load situation, it cuts out, or
Oh.
wide open throttle, it'll start dropping a cylinder.
Sounds like the same problem I had with the Corrado.
Yeah,
Oh.
but wasn't yours fuel?
No, it was the ignition this time.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's
yeah,
right, you
remember he
swapped
had the
stock
fancy
stuff,
thing
yeah.
on, and then he went back to stock, and everything worked fine like it's supposed to.
Yep.
Shut up. It's fine.
So yeah, I have to chase that down.
Yeah.
That should be easy.
Should be.
Should be.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's fine. Car's been around a bunch, or the motor has.
Well, how many miles does that have on it?
320
Not so
something.
many.
Yeah.
It's a drift car.
Yeah. It doesn't even smoke. I don't understand.
What do you mean? It has like 100 miles on it. What are you talking about?
What?
Start over. You start over.
Oh,
The car.
in this car?
Yeah.
No,
maybe.
that's not how that works.
I wonder how many miles it has on, like, the odometer has on this since I put that gauge in.
You know,
Oh,
I've
yeah,
never
so
looked to
it's-
see what it records because all it does is drift now. So
Right.
It's just wheel
yeah,
speed.
I'm
it
curious.
doesn't go up fast. My car has, I probably put 3,000 miles on it since I like took it off the road.
That's more than I expected, to
3,000
be
miles
honest.
of
1,000
straight
drifting.
skidness.
On another
How many
note,
sets of tires is that?
I don't know.
How
I
many
was
miles
poking-
per tire?
Yeah,
Who cares
exactly.
about miles per gallon?
Right, miles per tire.
Poking around on the dyno today and like looking at stuff because we have a new RPM signal
Yeah, I
thing
saw
to
that.
wire in, and I was looking at random stuff inside what the settings are, and it said we have 13,000 miles on the dyno.
I believe that.
Yeah, okay. It's
That
been around
honestly
for a
seems a
while.
little low.
That's a
Well, what? When do they get to that? My second year, I think, is when we got the dyno.
I don't know.
Okay.
You put a car on it, and how many miles you can cover, and you know, say you do 5 pulls before whatever you're testing, 5 pulls after whatever you're testing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We have at least
a-
80 pulls on the M4.
I mean,
So,
You got to figure a
13,000.
pole's going to be up to a half a mile. I feel like with it by the time you
Yeah, 'cause
up
you
to
gotta-
set it
you
up to
gotta
speed
roll it,
and then
get up to
start it
temp,
and then
up to
coast
speed,
down.
yep.
Half a mile, I'd say, per pole.
well, more than that. I would say
Like
almost
more?
2 miles per pull.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, before
Two?
when we weren't using the
Two.
dyno
we're the
brake.
brake now.
oh, that's
Oh,
true.
The brake was working for a long time, and then just stopped, and then we fixed it. So
Yeah. If you get it up to like, what, you're doing like 40 miles an hour before you start a pull? So you go running through the gears, you sit there for a second while you find the thing on the laptop, then you run it up to 100, 110, depending on what you're doing.
130.
130, yeah, the M4 runs to like 140 when we were doing
Scary.
fifth gear pulls.
It is
So,
scary.
Yeah, it's
You know the-
mortifying.
Especially if you're not in the car and like the
You're
wheels
just
is
watching it and you're like,
spinning
no,
that
just
fast.
waiting
like,
for a
right
tire
next
to
you.
explode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Sketchy.
Maybe that's when the brakes started acting up, because I remember the room filling with dyno brake smoke. Because it was like a
Oh.
pretty high speed pull a
It
handful
was.
of
It
times.
had
in a row.
nothing to do with the actual brakes. It was a fuse.
Yeah, I know, but I wonder if that was enough load to pop
Maybe.
that. But
Yeah. It slows down again. We replaced the fuse and it works fine. So.
yeah, it's weird.
All right. Well,
We didn't come
Is
up
this
with a
a
topic
short
first,
episode?
so
All right, Dave. What's our topic?
Whoa.
I was hoping we'd just like stumble across one, but
Yeah, I don't think we got there.
no.
talk about old machines.
Yeah, on multiple fronts we can talk about old
Restoration
machines.
projects.
So we've all bought old
types
shitty
of
things.
restoration, not just cars.
No, it doesn't have to be. Yeah,
No, it doesn't
could be
matter.
Equipment,
Does not matter.
devices.
Yeah, because you gotta have nice stuff to fix your shitty stuff.
That's not true at all.
Wow.
Well,
There's certain things that
Preferably.
just last forever.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right. It's all in like how they're cared for.
that's true.
That's that's the typical
Or
thing
how
with
they're
cars.
built.
How they're built matters a lot,
Let's see, right
but
now.
also how it's been used. Like you can get a 200,000 mile car that's in better shape than a 50,000 mile car.
Yeah, that's true.
And-
I'm just thinking about like that vise I bought. Like he wanted way more than $100 for that vise, but I didn't pay that much for it. But you can go on Amazon and buy them for like $80.
Yep.
Yeah, but
They're not.
they
it's
don't
not the
make them
same.
like they used
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Well,
Oh boy, here we go.
They don't.
No, you're right.
that's kind of true. In a lot of ways, it's also better though.
Yeah,
For sure.
Something like a Vice, not better. But
no.
Something like a carburetor.
cars,
give a
Yeah.
shit.
anything, like anything else,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
something that's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
It's made better now.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty
for
much
the most
any
part.
electronic, really.
Oh,
I'm not,
for sure.
I don't care
Electronics
about
have
that.
come a very
Yeah.
long way.
Well, Kevin wants to talk about tools. Let's talk about his tools
I
and
don't know. I
stuff.
mean, I've just been poking around this
That's what we're
bridgeboard
trying
a
to
lot.
talk about. You
Well,
gotta, like,
if you wanna
fucking
talk
set us
about it.
back to going
Why
again.
is every old tool that color? Is
I
that like
know-
a very specific
The
paint?
gray?
Yeah.
So
So-
every machine shop has like gray tools.
I was
Right.
actually looking at the one at work today, and that's painted black or like a dark gray.
Same
It's
style?
darker, yeah.
But it's basically the same machine,
Huh.
more or less. It's-
Same head.
Yeah. Very close, at least. It has the same little weird, like, levery slotted thing on top. It's got the pulleys that are the same. I found out I'm missing some linkage on some of the drill auto feed. That's why.
Oh, I did. You know, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the indexing part of the handle for the plunge portion of that spindle, like the
Yeah, the one we have at work is a 3-handle thing, and
Is it like a
much
big
more
counter spring?
factory than this little bent piece
Yeah,
of rod
that
with a
handle
ball on
did
the end
seem
of
a
it.
little strange. I gave it a pull.
I also, if you give it a pull, there's a little screw further up that puts your hand right in death mode.
That
right with
used
that
to have
screw.
a ball on
Yeah,
it. Then
but
now
like
it's just threaded rod.
it's the wrong angle, so I crunched my finger pretty good.
Okay.
Heads
Well,
up.
I'll look out for
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
heads
I
up.
don't know. Like this thing's been repainted a few times. You can tell because people have put paint in places there wasn't paint before.
Well, and it's like way thicker. You're losing some of the.
Got some lead
It is
paint
funny
on there
they just
somewhere.
like slop paint all over like
Yep.
the junction box and like the cords and everything are all the
Yep.
same color.
Everything.
Yeah, basically, if you could dip it in a pool
Yeah.
of paint and then pull it back out again.
Hey, that's what I would do.
Oh boy, that'd be
There.
so good.
Wish I had a giant bath to just put this thing in and clean it off, but
It's a large machine to just throw in
Power
a
washer.
Yeah, it's purple power.
Probably not the
Yeah,
best thing
okay,
to power wash, but
No.
No.
but how do you got to move it outside to do
Yeah,
that?
it's, well, I mean, technically,
Well, it
you don't
was
really have
outside.
to.
Yeah, it was on a trailer. You could have done it then.
You don't want a lot of the things that are like hard to clean out
yeah.
Yeah.
to get
Yeah, water will
that
sit in
in there.
places. that-
Right. You kind of want to clean it with WD-40 and things that aren't gonna make-
Precision, not just overly spraying water and things.
Pressure wash with WD.
Ooh, yeah. The hell with the hose.
Yeah.
That
$1 million
50-gallon
idea.
drum.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the smell?
Well, just
Just
like
overbearing smell of
the area of
WD-40.
lawn that'd be dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm expecting that thing to just fire right up though. Like
Oh yeah, it'll be fine.
I don't see.
In worst case, if you need a motor, like that's
Oh,
cheap.
yeah.
That honestly might be another option to look into is go into a single phase
Modern
motor
motor.
instead.
Yeah.
You can just drop one onto it that's single phase
Yeah.
instead of 3-phase, and you might be better off.
What's better?
I mean, you can't get 3-phase
yeah.
in residential areas, so you
Yeah.
have to fake it or
Until you
buy a
make it.
really expensive phase converter
Yeah.
Fake it or make it.
or make it.
You don't have to fake it till you make it.
You can make it with a VFD or a rotary phase converter.
Yep.
Those are $1 million.
Yeah. Pretty common home shop issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
The cheaper
Yeah.
tools are 3-phase because no one can use them at home.
Right.
So you got to get crafty, and you can get them to work. It's not a big deal. It's
Yeah.
just not direct plug-in, and that's what people like.
Yeah. And plug and go, of course.
Yeah.
Nobody
I'm
wants to be
at a
aggravated
point
with-
where I can like change some of the wiring stuff around, or
Yeah.
I'll probably tap off of my welder circuit and just add another plug in for that.
Yeah.
Is that legal?
Yeah. It's, just another plug.
Why not?
I don't know.
Just
Yeah. you
don't
should
weld
be
while
able-
you mill, and
Things I'm not concerned about, but just one of those things that you just have to learn sometimes the hard way.
Okay, well, Mike, you want to explain a little bit more about VFDs and phase
Yeah.
converters? Because
Yeah.
you know more about this than I
that's where I
do.
lost
sounds-
it.
yeah,
in
it sounds
energy
interesting.
engineering, like that's 3-phase.
I've done it, so I know a little.
Yeah.
But so VFDs are variable frequency drive, so those can create 3-phase, which is kind of cool. It's essentially a 3-phase motor is a brushless motor. So any of the RC stuff or whatever that's brushless is essentially running 3-phase. So
DC, but
it's
not-
DC 3-phase. Well, not always. Some of them convert to AC, which is kind of wild. But yeah, you can get a drive to do that, and then you can play with the frequency. So if you had 3-phase off the street, you'd be at 60 hertz or whatever. With a VFD, you could fudge that one way or the other. You can run 50 hertz, you can run 60, 70 hertz. You can kind of overspeed motors. You can do a bunch of cool
so you
control
essentially
things.
get speed control out of it for something that normally would have a fixed speed on a set of gears or pulleys, rather.
Right.
Either one, I guess.
And you could do ramp ups and ramps downs. It's a lot less violent on stuff. But the other way to convert to 3-phase is a rotary phase converter, which is basically a single phase motor that powers a 3-phase motor or a generator, and then they're just facing each other coupled together, and you have this thing spinning in the corner that does that.
Yeah, that seems wildly
Inefficient.
and
Yeah, for
loud
sure.
and
Exactly.
unnecessary.
I don't think they're as smooth as a VFD or actual 3-phase though, right? Is that
Probably
what
not.
the downside of that is?
But
And
they are
taking
more
up a bunch of
power
space?
than kind of cheating it with the other style of phase converter sort of thing that, like, if you Google or, go on eBay and look up phase converters, you'll get this weird mystery box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they technically are, but it's basically a capacitive start setup for a 3-phase motor that you can then start and run on single phase. They're like $80. It's a little mystery box. Everything's in Chinese. There's a little red light on it, and that's about it. I have wired up a couple of those, and they work. And it's clever because, like, you can run multiple machines off of it, which we did at my buddy's at Paul's house. Like, so he can
turn them on at the same time.
So if one that's no, you have to do that. So, like, if it's a 3-horse phase converter, it's only rated for a 3-horse motor, but you want to run a 5-horse off it, he can start his 3-horse bandsaw and then start the 5-horse mill,
now that
because
I think
it starts
about it,
backfeeding itself through
I
that.
was just going to say that. We had a similar thing going on in my last shop where I didn't know much about it. I didn't set it up or anything, but they had the same thing where, like, if they were running something across the shop and it would backfeed the other equipment,
Right.
they would actually turn on. So we had
Sounds sketchy.
So we had all the equipment used really small VFDs for,
Right.
because it was a packaging like equipment, and of course it would run off of like commercial 3-phase and everything, but it would backfeed that and it would like turn on equipment on the other side of the shop because it had the goofy, sketchy, fake 3-phase converters.
It would turn on equipment that wasn't on by
Yeah, so
itself?
Yep.
you end up having to wire them together, and then you're like,
It's terrifying.
So-
Can you imagine just being like maybe working on a piece of equipment and all of a sudden it just turns on?
Some guy leaves the T-handle
It
on
was
the
a
lathe
problem,
and it
'cause
fires up and shoots the thing across the shop.
Yeah.
Jeez, Pete.
Like, yeah, they had stuff that was like locked out, and they had the electric guy like wiring things in, and I was like, what is happening?
It sounds like
Things
the
are-
electric guy needs to be
It was sketchy,
Oof.
fake 3-phase thing and building wiring going on.
breaking a lot of codes there.
Yeah, it seems.
yeah, I don't know.
Not ideal.
I don't know
They don't
all
really
the ins and outs of
care-
it, but I know it works.
They don't
so.
really care what you do with it after it comes out of the wall. They care how it's done between
Yeah,
the
that's
wall
true.
and the supply.
I wouldn't say from like a. I would say from like OSHA code would be.
Yeah,
It would be out of.
right.
It's not
incorrect.
advisable.
No.
But
No, it sounds like a. Ugh.
Interesting.
No bueno.
Never heard of that.
Yeah. That's
So anyway,
weird.
if you want to run something in your home shop or you find some deal on some equipment, you kind of have to think a little bit ahead about how you're going to handle that. You need at least a 220 setup
Yep.
of some sort.
Yep.
It gets you every time you find like a reasonably priced big compressor
Yeah.
too. You're like,
Yep. That's what mine
those
was.
are eating up. Just put a single phase motor on it though.
Exactly. That's what reminded me of that,
Yeah.
because I had to do that with my compressor.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up getting, it was a 3-horse, 3-phase motor, and I went to a 5-horse single phase for like $200.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, all right.
Yeah. Well,
different
that's one of those
RPM
things
range,
you don't
but-
really need
Yeah.
any sort of control over the motor, so it doesn't.
No, but and that's the same with a mill too. Like in a machine shop, yeah, you could load the thing down and be trying to take 1/2-inch passes or whatever and everything, and really lug it down and need all
Use the
3-horse.
verse pers.
Yeah,
Verse
but
per.
at home you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
There's no need to have the thing bogged down. So you take an extra
Usually
cut.
you're not in a rush when you're at home either, so you're like, all right, I'll just
Right.
take less off.
Sip my beer and take another 2 passes for the
Yep.
same cut. It'll be fine.
Costs you a little more in beer, but at the end of the day, it still gets the job done.
And it might save you fingers because
End
you're
of
not
the
loading
day,
the thing so hard.
It's cheaper than having a machine shop do it. So,
Yep.
Oh, always.
and having something at home, the accessibility there is like, I don't even know. I'm probably not going to use it for a long time, but when I
was
do,
gonna say, do you have a project in mind? Like, what do you think the first thing
Nope,
you're gonna
I have
mill is?
no idea. Probably just some brackets for something. I don't even know what it
It's
would be.
unnecessarily beefcake billet brackets or something.
I did pick up a bunch of little scrap pieces of aluminum from the shop, also just
Yeah.
tiny ones, little dropouts from whatever they're making.
Make sure you square it up and make sure it takes nice passes and things like that.
Yeah, that's
That'd be cool,
honestly that
yeah.
would be my first project.
Yeah,
Now
that's-
that you said it, it's like make
Yeah.
sure the bed's square, try to level everything,
Yeah.
get the ways nice and tight, and then if the bed's kind of shitty, like I'd consider like fly cutting it or something, just to try to
Fly
make.
cutting the bed.
I don't know. You can do it. I've seen guys do that to try to like
Interesting.
clean up areas.
Yeah.
Then you gotta buy a fly cutter.
Yes,
That
you'd have
costs
to-
money.
But then what if you have to like
You
fly cut a
probably
cylinder
want
head?
one of those eventually, anyways.
You could dial indicate in a cylinder head and deck
you
your
could
own.
make a fly cutter.
Oh, that's true too. Fly cutters are like it's a lathe bit.
It's a
in
tool holder,
Yeah,
essentially. Yeah.
So
So you could really get fancy with your new vise and your parallels and figure out how to get the right angle on the lathe, the lathe tool holder.
yeah, does it chuck up a boring bar in there? And
Yeah.
We'll see what happens when I put the indicator on it.
Yeah.
Run it down. Maybe it's mint. I mean, it was used like pretty frequently by a machine shop. So
Yeah, the fact that it was in a machine shop is probably a good indicator.
it wasn't
that it's
sitting
gonna
in some guy's
at least-
garage.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't like break any of the head stuff loose, so it's all exactly how it was when it left. So
Yeah, so then tram that in, make sure it's good or has been locked down good, because that's pretty easy to move around too.
yep. Yeah, that's true. And we did pick it up by the head with a.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. The machine shop there had this like overhead hoist system that spanned the entire building, like width and length, so it could pick up anything you wanted up to 15 tons.
Yeah, which is a ton. Or,
It's actually
It's
15.
15 tons. An astronomical amount.
But like
'cause
picking up
you
this
can
thing
pick
was
up multiple
nothing
cars.
for that thing. It was,
Oh yeah, it has no idea it's picked up anything.
yeah, and it was just. I mean, it's probably. I don't know, 80 feet wide. Twice as probably like 120. Probably like 3 times the building length, and then like
It sounds nice.
it's a very large building with very large welding tables and some very large equipment in there.
Oh, welding tables.
Hmm.
Do they have the
Like
acorn tables?
excessively large welding tables. Like they're not. Nobody's buying that. They
Right.
can't.
Impossible to
Do
move.
they have a really
Yeah.
large bandsaw?
They do actually.
I saw that. And I
It's
was like,
too big though. I was like,
So
I
you
want a
cut one of the welding
bandsaw, but
tables in
that's
half.
just it's bigger. It's
Excessive.
bigger than that mill.
Yeah,
Like
no.
thing's fucking huge.
You don't need anything that big.
But it'd be cool.
It would be nice.
It would be.
That's one of those things. That's why
When
I
you
want
could
like
fit-
all the
put
space.
full sticks of tube on it. Yeah. Just.
When you could plop an engine block on the thing
Yeah.
and just bandsaw it in half for no reason.
Raise that compression.
Yeah.
I got the tool to do that. The mill will
This
do that.
fly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the milk. Yeah.
Sketchy, but
A lot of
can do it.
fixturing. Well, it's
Yeah.
not sketchy. It's just like you've got 2 hours of fixturing before you try to make a pass.
All right.
But after that, whatever. They didn't have any like power feeds or anything. That'd be the only other thing I'd be interested in on that.
They had on the nicer mills that they
So
sold.
they didn't have any separate ones kicking around.
No.
No.
It wasn't a, manual mill much of a shop there.
Right.
So this thing had clearly been on the back burner for a while versus their other stuff, and most of the things they had there were much larger in scale. So there's like a lathe, probably a 25-foot bed on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Things that I didn't even realize were lathes until I got up close and was like, oh, this part spins? I thought that was the table.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Some of those monsters are crazy. Like the giant, enormous lathes.
absolutely massive. And it was like backwards too. So like a table would sit in front of you, basically kind of like a coffee table, whatever, just like flat, round, probably 5 feet in diameter. And then I realized that that's the head, and the cutter was on this like tram system thing with like cables and stuff, and like you could probably cut something at least 10 feet tall on it. Just round, really large diameter stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Sounds
I'd never
useful.
seen a lathe like that, but
Cuts entire car in half.
determined it was a lathe.
Yeah, I know. What do you build with that?
You got like some of them like
Well, the
they had
question is,
boring
what don't
bars
you
that were
build
like
with that?
this long and had a tooling, a cutter, like the size of this table basically.
Yeah.
What are you cutting with that?
Yeah, like a crankshaft for a cruise ship or something.
That'd be sick.
Apparently they made a lot of stuff for Goodyear.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
So I have to ask. I mean, you said you bought your mill and then you went back to consider a lathe. How come it wasn't the other way around? Because I definitely would have gone for the lathe.
Because I
first.
saw the lathe and I said, that's not quite what I want.
Right. Is the option
And then
there.
and then
Okay.
there was the mill that I was like, that's a good size
It
mill.
is a good size
All right,
mill.
that's
Okay.
something I should probably pursue because that's the ideal situation. If I ended up getting both, then yeah, I would have gone for the lathe first too. But
Right.
Yeah.
and it's probably still going to be there. So I don't know. Maybe if I change my mind, I can go back. But it was a lot of old machine.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it was
yeah.
mostly machine and not so much bed.
Yeah.
So just it was very bulky for the amount of stuff.
Right.
How the like size of stuff it could handle.
Yeah, I like
1940s.
overbuilt stuff and having more machine than you need, but I feel like you can't reasonably use a giant lathe for most automotive related stuff.
Right, you have to be able to justify the space it takes up
Yeah,
to. But
yeah.
You need both. No matter what, you need both.
you
It's
do.
especially
I think a
dangerous,
lathe is more important, like at the home shop. But
Yeah, but like I said, I think that's a slippery slope, especially with like a pretty new shop that has space right now, that you don't get carried away and fill it up with unnecessary stuff right away. So, understandable.
Yeah, it's not huge. I have my priorities in place on like what things are going to take up space.
I'll be the
lathe
judge
and
of
miller is like right on point. You'll be fine with that.
What? What, Dave?
I do want a big enough lathe to cut wheels.
I'll be the
though.
judge of that.
What?
How much space you have.
To get out freaking.
No, I was
7
whether or
stuff
not
out
he
of
had his
here.
priorities in place.
No.
Okay, that's it.
I think it's safe to assume I have my priorities out of place. So
If anyone wants
The
a
ability to
6-speed
do
swap
wheels,
for
though,
a
like-
B7,
Yeah,
hit up
there's so
Kevin.
many-
Kevin's still got a bunch of B7 parts sitting here if anyone wants it.
yeah, buy it.
Buy all of Kevin's used stuff so he can buy
Yeah.
other things that he's going to build.
Look how little that diff is.
It's a little baby guy. Just a little baby guy.
yeah, it only transmits less than 50% of the power.
I know.
So what's the deal with this? Is it just
I'm pretty
Haven't
much
heard-
done.
you haven't heard
Like-
anything from the guy at all,
No,
or
we gave up on that a while ago.
yeah?
We're done.
No, I figured, but I didn't know if there
Just
was like
because you gave up doesn't mean that he didn't say
Yeah.
a week later, I'm still going to send it. Yeah.
Hey,
Right.
sends it in the mail in 2 weeks.
Because we don't understand this guy's motives
Cool.
anymore
That'd make it easy to
anyways, but-
scrap. Like,
Yeah. Well, that would make it easier.
Oh,
You'd get more
yeah.
money for it. I think because
You
the
don't
places
get more
that'll
money.
take a shell without a title, I think, are a little on the sketchier side.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
nowhere should take a shell without a title.
That's what I
Yeah,
But
mean.
if you
true.
cut it in half, it's the same,
Yeah.
and it's the same weight per dollar. So
Are we cutting this thing in half?
there's a place that might take it as is. and
Yeah.
See if they want to do it, and if not, then we'll cut it up.
Oh yeah. There's still a lot of good parts on that too. It doesn't.
Yeah, but like the dollar per like waste my time
Yeah.
isn't really worth it.
Yeah.
You know how many people ask? They're like, "Oh, can I get this part off of it?
Right,
I
can I
really,
get this
really need
bolt?"
that." I'm like, "Okay, sure." Yeah. Hey, I'm not putting anything in a box anymore until I get paid.
Yeah.
because it's just
yeah, no.
It's a waste.
run around
it
trying
is.
to
It's
find a
waste of
box
time,
or
yeah.
some stupid size thing for someone that needs like an AC condenser, for a very specific example that's happening currently,
Yeah.
and you never get paid for it, and then you're like, "Wow,
Yeah.
I
You just
shouldn't have
wasted
done
a bunch
that.
of time and money. Yep. I don't blame you. Huh. Well, what else, gentlemen? Anything else? Anything non-motor wheels? Anything else related? You guys see
No,
anything interesting on the internet lately?
That's all we talk about.
I know.
What do you,
yeah."
Well,
why would you exclude all the things we talk about?
Have you guys read
Anything not fun you want to
Well,
talk about?
All right,
we,
all
we
right.
were talking about old machines, so like,
Yeah.
I'll keep going on that.
Yeah.
We kind of got sidetracked there, but like, there's something. You guys have some other tools that I don't have still that I want to get. Things like, bandsaw, a nice bandsaw. That ideally one that would do horizontal and vertical would be cool.
I want just a big vertical. That would be the move,
Yeah, I'd
I
use the
think.
vertical way more than a horizontal. I mean,
Yeah.
you can do everything with the horizontal.
Right,
Or sorry, the vertical.
right, exactly.
Things like that, or like belt sanders.
Belt sanders. I want more belt sanders. That's what I'm
Yeah.
convinced of. I
There's
would
a
like
whole row of them.
a row of like 3 or 4 in different grits
60,
on each of
100,
them.
500, 1,000.
Yep.
It's good to go.
Yeah, polish it. Get
Yeah.
the Scotch Brite one for some
Yeah.
reason. If they make those, and just I want everything. I want all that.
That would be nice.
Little
I
bench
do
grinder
like, I
on
do
a
like your
stand.
little
Yeah.
your belt sander on the wall. I like that.
Yeah, they take up less space. I
Yeah.
think I would really like to get a bunch of those old ones and then run it off like one big 5-horse. So you flip
Well,
the switch
just
on
a
and they
single
all fire up.
shaft. Yeah.
And they're all running, and you just can run down the line and bump it down from like
That'd be
40
pretty
grit
easy
to
to build, actually.
200 grit.
What do you need to change your grits so much for?
It would be nice. You have to like really finesse stuff with the 40 grit sometimes, and then it really depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
So like especially trying to like bump up your game with TIG welding stuff and trying to make the fitment perfect.
Yeah, instead of using
Like-
that 60 grit bevel, it'd be nice to
Right.
smooth that out.
Exactly. Or you bump it with the 60 grit and then you lose half of it. Whoops. You really want to sneak up and make your gaps perfect. It'd be nice to just kind of run down the line.
Okay. That's very useful tools.
Yeah.
Granted, like you already have some of those, so I guess just getting one in the first place is
Oh,
pretty
it's a
essential.
huge game changer. Like, just sharpening tungsten alone is worth it on the
Yeah.
belt sander versus the grinder. I never use the
Yeah,
grinder
I,
again.
like kind of jumped into like, oh, I have mill, but there's a bunch of other steps along the way, skipping at this point that I've really needed for a long time and just haven't
Well,
bought.
the mill, that's like a good deal. That
Yeah,
you just
that's
kinda
a-
had to
yeah.
jump on. Like all that other stuff, like belt sanders and bench grinders, you can find those on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that. They're a little more common, a little easier to find. So
Did they have belt sanders there?
Yeah, nothing like. Some people jumped on some good ones and then
Wow,
they were
yeah.
very tagged. So I was
I
like,
saw the whole. No, they had a whole pile of bench grinders on pedestals, didn't they?
there was, well, most of them got tagged. And then there was one, I was like, ooh, I kind of like this one. Then I realized it was attached to another one also. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't necessarily want two of them.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I get it. All right. All right.
And
Who
he's
knows?
going back.
I
You
could.
need,
I mean,
you need
I,
the wire wheel, you need the buffing wheel, you need the grinding wheel, and you need I don't know
Another
another
wire
grinding wheel.
Well,
Right.
two different wire wheels.
That's true,
That's a
yeah.
big deal.
Or is there like a 6-inch flap disc you can just jam on a bench
Yikes!
grinder?
I'd be mortified
Dude,
of that.
that sounds awesome.
Ugh.
the thing would spin up real fast.
You're
Less
throwing parts
RPM than a
everywhere.
grinder.
And then, like I need a brake
Yeah,
of some sort. A finger brake would be ideal.
yeah. Definitely hold out for a finger brake if
So
you can.
those are the other old tools I'm looking out for on the list of machine shop finds, but
Yep.
they didn't quite have any of that stuff there. They didn't have any bending stuff.
Yeah, it didn't look like they were doing any sheet metal work. So
A notcher. A notcher would be a good one.
I would like a
those.
notcher. Well, you can do that in the
Or
mill
like a
now.
shear, I should say. But
So
yeah.
you can make some jaws for the mill, and then you can notch whatever pipe you want. That's kind of the key.
Oh,
Although it
I was
almost
thinking-
could
I was
be
thinking
easier than a
metal.
lathe.
I was thinking sheet metal,
Ah.
but
Oh,
yeah.
Sheet metal knife. That's
But
nice.
yeah, you could do that with the mill for sure.
yeah. Ideally, like the Piranha iron worker things, the hydraulically actuated notch heat punch,
Mhm. The punch
everything.
thing, yeah.
those
It has
things.
all the tools. You can just do holes or squares or whatever.
Big money though,
Yeah.
and they're huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, just kind of some of that little stuff. Like a giant vise is the other thing that I found super useful. Like I have that pretty good size. I think it's actually a Cleveland or something like that. That came on my welding bench. I use that for everything. It's super useful. And I had a smaller one before that I thought was fine. I was like, why do you need an enormous one? You need an enormous one.
Yeah.
Like,
You also need a stout stand or table.
yes,
So-
the 700-pound bench really works well for that.
I
Or
still need to
bolting it to
build
the
that.
wall.
Yeah.
God, it is on the list of winter projects is buy stock and make a table that accepts the toolboxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can have all that bolted to the wall and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's so many things to do. So many things to do.
Don't talk to Mike about that.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat.
Got a 928. He's got a Audi. He's
I
got
just-
a E34 that's just getting neglected. And
Oh,
poor,
he-
poor
he's
thing
fine.
just saw a new car show up at home, and
Yeah, it probably is pretty upset about that.
yeah.
But if you think of the percentage of time I've had that and how long it has been running versus how long it hasn't been running, it's still fine.
It's gonna be 2 years.
Right, but I've had it since 2006,
Yeah.
so it's fine. I just don't find it as daunting when it's like, oh, I have so many things to do. I'm like, yeah, I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just think I don't find that daunting, but
I only find it daunting.
I did think about all the space that's being taken up
Yeah.
by
That's fair.
like semi-finished projects. I'm like, boy, if I had everything put back together right now, like I'd have so much space.
That's like the one thing that, like the last thing that I need to do on the Corrado is like all the body work, and like it's the one thing I don't want to do because I hate doing it and
Yeah.
I'm not good at it. So like I'm like catch myself looking at other stuff and I'm like I should finish this other thing first.
Yeah.
But I probably won't. and
It's
I'll
so
just
hard
get
to
something
not
else.
say yes to another project.
I know it's just
The deal pops up. Sometimes you got to do it.
And the
Yeah.
excitement that comes with the new project and
Right.
everything.
Like,
we
look
were,
at all
chasing,
this-
we
look
were
at all
talking
this
about that
headache.
the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's chasing the dragon.
The
They get-
roller coaster of excitement to frustration.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just, yeah, like initially you have that huge spike in interest where like you wake up excited in the mornings, you have this thing to go play with it you still don't know anything about.
Like, I'm going to try and get it to run. Or
Yeah,
like, I'm going
Yeah.
to see how like nice this thing is after I clean it for like 24 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, well, all right.
So yeah, that you end up like, you know, like the heroin addicts say, chasing the dragon. You're just trying to find
Is that
that.
what they call it?
That is what they
I
call
thought
it.
it was something else, like chasing the. Well,
I don't actually know.
guess,
Yeah, but
whatever. A Dragon. Okay.
Just a Dragon.
Something.
I like
But like, yeah, and then eventually that novelty wears off.
Well, that was like
But
what the Moto
How long
4
does
for
it
me.
take?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
How long does it take for it to wear off?
Yeah.
I still have it on some things, but like a great example of that is not fixing the CAS on the Audi right now. Although there
Is it after you
better.
tried and failed a certain number of times?
that
fail.
definitely
It's-
sours you to it.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, the Audi is like the newest variation of CAS, so it has a bunch of electronic garbage and is the most complicated variation of that CAS and runs the worst
Right.
and has a bunch of weird issues. This old dinosaur one has like nothing. The 928,
that's true.
it's great. So like, it doesn't even have adjustments for cylinder to cylinder. Like you put it back together and it's all it is.
Okay.
Which is why I probably only made 200 horse out of a 4.5 liter. But
Right. I mean,
I
it's
don't
not
know.
like the E39 did too much better or the
Is it
E34.
220 crank.
Okay, yeah, they didn't underrate,
did.
underrate that too.
Didn't
Yeah.
take me long to get really frustrated working on the Audi 200. That was
a little
that was
different. You were
interesting
trying
at
to use
first,
that.
and I was like,
as
oh,
a-
well, this thing's
That and
gonna
that car was
going
like
from
rough.
complete junk to like workable, but it's just minor improvement after minor improvement. Just nothing was satisfying. It wasn't just like I did something and then it worked great.
You did something
Yeah.
and a half
I
worked.
did something and then
like
like something else broke, and then something else broke, and then I did something, and then two
You know
more
what-
things.
you know what
broke.
always
sounds
worked?
like projects.
That hood release.
You know what else
Always? Always?
When you had to pull Will's silly ass out of the ditch in Michigan for snowdrift.
Just because it worked once doesn't mean it always worked.
Oh, I don't know.
You know,
Well, it worked pretty well.
Worked a lot better than
You
anyone
were,
else's would
it
have.
never
You
left
were-
me stranded, so.
That's true.
But that was like it's a different scenario trying to daily drive that thing.
That's true.
It was if you don't think of it as
I
your
can
daily
imagine,
driver at
yeah.
the exact same time,
Oh, I
Like-
would hate that.
yeah. That's why like when I got the 944, I tried to jump on it quick before I needed to daily it and tried to go through everything.
Well, that
and then
was
it didn't
before
suck
it
that.
got like incredibly cold too.
Yeah, I bought it very end, like the last day of August. So
Yeah.
then, like some of September and most of October, I worked on it, and then it worked. I was like, all right, cool. Now it's not 20 degrees out, and I'm trying to fix it in the driveway.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm trying to do that again right now.
Right.
Get the hustle
Oh,
going.
same time.
Gonna weld the diff.
I need to see if it's got a limited slip. A lot of those old ones
Okay,
did.
Okay.
I'm probably not gonna weld it though.
It's definitely
Really?
a
We'll see. It's like a fiasco to get into that transaxle, I guess.
Okay.
Or it's much bigger than the one that's in the 944. So.
Okay. Is it rusty? I mean, how's the
No,
underside?
it's
I
underside
didn't
is-
look
it's
at
not
that
bad.
at all. Yeah.
Like the sides of the car don't give you a ton of confidence, but if you look underneath, pristine.
Okay.
It makes
Yeah.
no sense.
It's mostly just surface rust.
Old machines.
80,000 miles.
See, that's
All
an
original.
example of a well-built machine.
Right, exactly.
Is it 80?
80.
Is it
79.
180?
79.
Is it 280?
No, it's got the first digit.
Does it? Okay.
They just like omitted the first digit on the 944 because it was a cheaper car.
Right. They're like, it's never gonna make it.
Yeah. Screw it, let it roll over, whatever. The next guy gets boned. But yeah,
That extra digit costs a lot of money.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. It's such a weird car. Like it's way nicer and
It's
older.
very
Like,
oddball.
it's one of those things that was supposed to be like the
I-
epitome of like technology in 78. So they put a ton of effort into some weird
Is
shit.
that like Porsche, the only car manufacturer when the numbers go smaller, they get more expensive?
Ooh, maybe well, no, because the 924 is worthless. So if
Yeah.
you skip
I
that
forgot
one,
about that one. Okay.
and
yeah.
the 914 is also worthless. So
Yeah, but
they're starting to
I
get-
kind of like those.
I like
but-
those too, but they're not a 911. So
Right. They're not. They're not. Okay. All right. That's all over the place.
904 though.
There's one for sale,
those
like
big
Like,
money.
start talking speedsters and things like that.
next to my
Half
hometown.
numbers.
Growing up, a 928. Just I was like, God, that thing is ugly, and it's for sale
the back half of
forever.
it.
Yeah, but it was parked the other way, so you never saw the back. I didn't even know what the back of it looked
They're
like
not,
at the time.
They're
Yeah.
not good.
Dude,
They're not
like
bad
70,
looking,
like
but-
the back 70% is
It's one of those oddball
excellent.
ones.
Yeah, the
But,
rear of
like,
the car looks great.
It was for
Front
sale
seat-
for like
It's-
$2,000 for like
very,
3
like-
years. I was like,
It's
what?
very
Now they're like kind of worth big money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of those.
It doesn't make a ton of sense because they're still not that good. But
You know, the back half of it reminds me of like a 70s theme park tram. Right? So like
oh, kind of
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's
back of a
very-
gondola or
yeah,
something
it's
like
very, It's very I don't know, it's like whale shaped almost. It's weird. It's not.
Whale
Whale
shaped.
What kind of whales?
What kind
Well,
of
no,
whales have you
I
seen?
don't know. I just think whale whenever I see
It's
it.
like a flounder. It's got its
Yeah.
eyes on both of the same side. You know?
Yeah.
On the same side of its head. Yeah, I see that.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about aerial view. All right.
It looks very frog-like with the
It does.
the lights
it
up.
does. Yeah.
I hate this. To think, like, I think they're pretty bad with the headlights down, but they are significantly worse with the headlights up. It's like the only car that like pop-ups look bad on.
Yeah, that they did a. I don't know.
Do
That
they
was a
have like
questionable move.
a fixed lens conversion or anything cool like that for
I
those?
feel like that would make
I'll
it
have to
look
look.
worse.
No. Nah.
Why? So you can point your lights at the sky?
No,
get
that's
the
why it's a
squinties.
conversion.
Yeah. They do that with 944s. They give you
Okay.
a squinty thing.
Well, what's
Yeah.
the one slant nose conversion they do? What Porsche they do on?
That's a 9.4.
911s that
yeah.
you could get the slant nose.
Yeah.
Well, 930s, whatever. It's a variation of a 911.
Yeah. Those look cool. I like those with the
Yeah, but-
fixed.
Oh,
front
sweet
facing like
996, man. It's a 911.
that. Yeah.
Ooh, not a 996.
I know, but
Yeah.
Porsche jokes, I guess.
924.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird thing too, though. Like the slant nose stuff
Yeah.
in the early 2000s or mid 2000s. You're like, no, that's not worth
What?
anything because they were pretty ugly.
But they're
Like
not.
at that time, they're
They were ugly now.
yeah,
They're ugly then.
They're
but,
like
now
cool
they're
ugly
like-
now, but
yeah.
like they were
I
kind
don't
of.
think they're ugly at all. Not even cool ugly. I just
Have
think
you
they're
seen
cool.
a slant nose like recently?
Yes.
Because they're kind of goofy.
I love them.
I like
so
it.
good.
I've always liked it, but it's definitely
It's odd.
it's goofy.
I don't care if it's rare or not. but
Lots of
it looks
Porsches
so
hit
good.
like a very low point in their value, and a lot of them have also gone way up compared
True.
to what they used to be.
Yeah, they're definitely going up on what sort of seems like a bubble, but it's been going forever now. So
Slowly increasing in price. I
Not
know
even slowly.
944s have gone up quite a bit.
yeah, those have too. You can still find them for nothing though, because there's
Yeah.
always the super shitty
I mean, like
car.
one that's
many
in
of
like
them.
decent condition, still going for like 8-10 grand for like a.
They just-
Yeah, if they're nice.
Yeah.
Volume is just driving that price down, really.
Yeah, there's just a ton of shitty examples because
Yeah.
they were a car that like needed some attention and you kind of needed to know some stuff, but it's relatively simple. So like
I feel like it's
some
anything
shit would
from
take
the
out of commission there pretty easy.
80s, 90s right now is kind of in a weird limbo of being worth something or not being worth anything. So,
I remember one of my old roommates picked up an FD that was like holding up some guy's wood pile essentially. The
No.
thing, it like lost apex seals or whatever and was just sitting there dead, and like the thing was just in his backyard. He stacked wood up against it and then like bought it. Thing was actually in really nice shape. Pulled the motor, got it back running again, drove it around.
and now it's worth
I need
what,
one of those
15,
deals.
16, 17, 18.
Yeah, now it's
18
worth a
grand.
ton.
Yeah. Well, that's like, oh, did you guys see? I saw a post recently. Someone had posted a Mark IV Supra on OfferUp for like $1,300. It's all the listing said was old Supra. That's all it said, or it said old Toyota.
So one of those situations where like Facebook won't let you put it for more
Yeah,
than
right.
what it
Well, I don't know.
says it's worth.
Well, no, it was like musty, and there was like moss all over it, and like it was
Sounds
like
familiar.
someone posted like for $1,300, and I don't know. Apparently, someone bought it. That's all that I saw out of it, though. I'll have to follow up on the story.
Seems
But
a
it
little
seemed
clickbaity,
interesting.
but yeah, those
Yeah.
deals do pop up.
NA
though.
automatic.
Probably, but still, nonetheless,
Yeah.
hard body style to find for less
you
than
can
20
flip it
grand.
regardless. Yeah.
I mean, the motors are pretty relatively available, but
For a lot of money now.
yeah, 2Js have gone up a lot. You used to be able to get them for
$2,000.
and now you get them for 5-6 grand. Yeah,
Right.
Stupid.
Yeah.
They're
Cool,
a good motor,
though.
but they're now getting to the point where like
Yeah.
price per.
Well, it's got
I blame
it's
Formula
got
D.
it's the scene
Just keep
tax
blowing
is
them
what
up.
I would call it, or stuff like that.
M50s are a dime a dozen.
Yeah,
They
that's
get
still
the
a
job
good one.
done just as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
That and they had a
Arguably-
factory tunable, flashable ECU option, which is nice.
Yep.
So
Arguably a better platform, cylinder head wise, than a 2J. But slightly less displacement. You can fix that.
I think a lot
For
of it's
nothing.
the hype
Yeah.
behind it.
Well, you can do
It's
the
done less, so less hype.
M54 B30 bottom end in the iron block. It all just fits, and then you've got pretty stout setup.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's why I sold it, because I had that one, and that's what I think somebody bought it for. Is just to do a stroker setup.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool. Very cool.
All right. Well, that's all I have. What about you guys? That's it.
Just gotta.
We gotta go split some wood so we have some firewood for Gridlife because it's gonna be cold and probably wet.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yep.
stay tuned for the next episode. Follow us on CAD Cars. I don't know. See you guys next week. Or not
don't
see
know.
you, but listen.
Listen to you next week.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, you were so close.
One thing.
So close.
You
Well,
just
I
had to bone it up, didn't you?
I did.
It better be good.
That's not good.
Okay.
I had Chris add panels for stuff to emails, so keep an eye on our emails to watch for the
podcast.
links.
Okay.
Links to Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube.
I see.
So
Wow.
stay tuned.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.